it's Andy.
Hi, it's Dave.
Hi, it's Kirk.
Welcome to the ADK Rock and Metal channel, and today we are back doing discussion topics being created by our random discussion generator. Yeah. Got to hit the generator. So, Andy, it's your turn to hit the generator. Off you go.
Okay.
Oh, wait, I should actually.
I think you're going to fire a blank.
Before I excuse me.
You're going to fire a blank straight.
What's Les even saying?
Is he going to fire a blank? He did last time. Ooh.
Oh, interesting.
Is this even to do with me? Oh, it is, yeah.
So is the fact that people are more aware of their mental health resulting in people not socialising and going to gigs?
Oh, let's go to gigs again, isn't it?
Because it's a healthy topic, but I think
that's another factor that we didn't discuss when we had about apathy and gig attendance. Never thought of this.
The problem with the whole music scene, we know that the whole music scene is basically fucked. But there are so many different categories that you could talk. So we could spend 3-4 hours talking about it and trying to break it down. So there is a lot of these topics and different elements of it, so we can focus on individual parts. So this topic came up because we are, as a society now, much more aware. We talk about mental health. It's not there's not so much of a stigma behind it. Whereas if you went back 30 years ago and you were depressed, etc., it was something you kept to yourself. You might see a doctor about it, but there was no open discussion about it. People, bipolar disorders, all these different elements that I couldn't even tell you how many different mental health problems or issues there are. And the ones we can talk about are things like we could talk about depression, anxiety, stress, because basically, even if you don't think you've got it, you probably have had some element of that in your life. Even if it's never been diagnosed. But there are so many other elements now, because we didn't back in the 90s, 80s, 90s, etc., when I was going to gigs, there wasn't a way of discussing it, there wasn't anything about it, so you just kind of got on with things, and you went out and you just had to go out and you socialise more, etc. Is it the fact that people are aware of the fact that they've now got disorders means that they don't feel they can socialise with people, they don't? Or is it healthy? I don't know. I feel there's an element here. There is a discussion topic here, but I don't know.
Do you want me to give context?
You can go, Gus. Yeah.
So, Rishi Sunak this week, was it last week? Gave a speech attacking Signal Britain. And
that was this week.
The statistics are alarming. So in 2016, there were 5.6 million people in the UK on out-of-work benefits. That has ballooned to 11 million.
11 million people.
So one viewpoint from the right-wing perspective is people are too soft, people are not looking for work because their feelings are under attack, it's very stereotypical. From the other, we are more candid now, we're recognising some of the deficiencies and we shouldn't be scared of acknowledging that we've got some mental health issues and we can be open and talk about it. So that's the context from the left and the right. Bit of a strange question is does that impact on people going to gigs or not?
It's
I don't know
been
how we can
around
answer that.
we've got people from since 2020 we had obviously we had the pandemic, and then we found that people would stay at home for a year and became agoraphobic because they couldn't leave the house.
True.
And so we started finding that people were finding that they were self-isolating, they couldn't socialise with people. And one of the things I was wondering about was, is this a factor that's why gig attendances are so low? Is that people
are introverted
because they're introverted, or
and
maybe
alienated?
They recognise, whereas before they had no way of knowing that they had a mental health problem, so they had no way of trying to deal with it. Now that people understand what that problem is and what it causes, they can read up on it, they can get diagnosed on it. They can now say, I can't be around other people because it might trigger me, it might set me off, and so they can't handle those situations. Whereas maybe previously, maybe those people would never have gone to a gig previously anyway, but maybe because they didn't.
To those people, if they've got that level of recognition where they understand that they can't go for that reason, they deserve respect.
And we would say anything with mental health, you should always try to seek help, support from wherever you can get it. And it's very difficult because obviously GPs are not designed specifically they're a general practitioner. They're not designed, and hopefully they can refer people that can get the best help they possibly can. As someone who's suffered from depression and anxiety and was put on medication for depression years ago, etc. So I kind of can understand it from that point of view. And when you are fully depressed, you don't want to get out of bed, you don't want to do anything. And the last thing I'd wanted to do was ever go to a gig.
But when people were unaware of mental health, that would still stop them, probably, wouldn't it?
That would potentially.
They just didn't know why they had those negative feelings and potential agoraphobia, or certainly couldn't be around people.
But now, with the fact that previously you might have felt a bit low, but you wouldn't have you might have thought that going to a gig and be your friends would be your escapism of it. But now, if you feel, and you've been identified as mentally health, and the people go, these are triggers, does that make you go, I can't go out and see people, I can't be around that because it might affect me, whereas before you might have just gone for it, and it may have triggered you, but you wouldn't have known why it's triggered you, it may have not. It's a really odd question that I've thrown up here, but I'm just trying to, from a societal point of view, does that explain why people don't go to gigs because they can't get to it?
Yeah, I mean, I've had periods of my life, and I was prescribed medication for those, anxiety and depression as well. I wasn't in the position I am in life now where I could have chosen and discovered and considered whether going to a show or not would have helped me, or whether it would be better for my own, sort of state of mind to stay at home. I mean, there have been social events unrelated to going to metal gigs I've avoided due to feeling, purely because I didn't want to go for the socialising aspect, or being anxious about sort of arrangements of getting there and back. Because I'm not one of these people who can just head out for an evening and worry about I'm getting home later. I need to have it planned and set out. But some people live their life like that, and all credit to them. If you can do that and get home without having to worry about it and affecting your evening, then fair play. But I couldn't do that. But discovering sort of local shows and the local metal scene, I think I would have found this therapeutic to actually go. It'd be what I would need to sort of get out of the house, make the effort to get in my car in most cases to go to these shows. So I don't think this is the reason why people aren't going. From my point of view, I mean, it'd be interesting to see what other people think from the comments and the reactions. But being more aware of it, I don't think is the key, because it's always been there, whether you knew it or not. It's that your own feeling as to whether you want to put yourself in that social situation or an enjoyable situation as going, as in going to a metal show, a local gig. Whether you're aware of it and it's sort of labelled and you're diagnosed with that condition, I don't think is the sort of the key factor in this question.
I think maybe it's the change of the word aware to being the fact that the amount of mental health awareness of the fact that there's more people with mental health issues that are now diagnosed with mental health issues is a potential issue. Because actually it makes me think about me. Pre-2020, I had no issue going out to a big venue. Like I'd go Brixton Academy, packed out venue, on the floor area. Although over time I started going more for balconies and seating areas so that I could get a little bit my own space.
Okay.
So I didn't like going in the pit, but I didn't have a massive issue with it. Post 2020, I had real anxiety about going in. I couldn't go to a supermarket if it was really busy. I'd have to go to supermarkets outside of busy times. Because if there was too many people in an aisle, I'd leave the supermarket. I even had panic attacks with me and the wife. So I went into a supermarket on a Saturday, and we started trying to do the shop, and I started freaking out, and I just started shouting.
So it's nothing to do with the dangers or potential dangers of the virus. It's
no, just I didn't like too many people near me.
Right.
So and the thing is, I have gone to gigs, but if you think about the gigs I generally have done at like places like Club 85, I've usually been videography, and I can position myself with my own little space away from everyone.
And you like that?
And even if I'm going through the venue, it's always transitioning. I never stand on the floor with people. I never get too close because I don't like crowds. And I still, to this day, if there's a gathering of 4 or 5 people, I'm fine. If it's a house party with 20 people going, I start getting panic attacks, and I don't want to go to that event because I don't like being in the crowded places. I don't like it when it's too many busy, and it's nothing because I'm worried about getting the thing. I get panic attacks. I don't know why.
Okay.
I get stress and anxiety, but I never had it pre-2020 with the since COVID when we started isolating.
That's the common denominator.
And I'm
isn't it?
wondering if because that would put me off going to a busy gig and knowing I have to stand on the floor with a drink packed with people. Even now I'm like thinking about it, going, I couldn't do that. So that's probably why with the Red Lion, I couldn't do that Red Lion gig. And every time we did it, when I did go to that time when you guys were playing, I stood at the back near the doors,
Okay.
so that I wasn't too close and that I had an exit point where I could just step away to. So I was always by the wall, so I had the wall behind me, so I didn't have people around me, and wasn't worried about catching any viruses or anything like that. It doesn't bother me. I just kind of like, guys, I need space.
Do you know, if we have a look at this, we could probably separate these two things. Resulting in people not socialising and going to gigs. You don't need to socialise at a gig. And I'm going to use this example, bleak, introspective music, sludge or post-metal. I could happily go to one of those gigs on my own, put my hood up, have a pint, not speak to anyone and just absorb the music. Now that's not going to really, it depends if you think it's going to help your mental health, listening to music, which is essentially trauma therapy when you listen to that subgenre of post-metal. For some people that would help, it would for me, knowing that I'm listening to something that reflects the way that I feel. And at the same time, I don't need to socialise because this music really is so solipsistic. It's so aimed at just the individual who's alienated from society. When I say that, there's no teen angst in this music either. This really is for men in the late 30s all the way up to the 50s and 60s. I often joke about this when I interview for this channel bands that play sludge and post-metal. I'll say to them, like Verminthrone, why does this music speak to me?
Yeah.
And I said to him, you're similar age to me. Why is nobody forming a sludge band at age 19? And they jokingly said, well, they've never had the stress of filling in a tax form. They've not lived. It does seem to be like a form of music for like that blue collar, even white collar anxiety, doesn't it? But you don't need to socialise if you go to one of those gigs. If anything, you're better off alone. People will leave you alone, and the music will speak to you.
Yeah.
But it won't give you escapism if you're in a vulnerable place.
So I'm going to change the wording of this. Rather than it be more people are more aware of their mental health, it's more of fact. Is the fact that mental health is on the rise resulting in people? Because I think that actually mental health issues are a reason why people
And
don't
we know
come to
it is
gigs.
the stats, you know.
The stats are saying it.
5.6 million in
if you-
2016 to 11 million.
But if you look at the people, when we've talked about the generation of people going to the gigs, especially here in the UK where we've seen it, because we've had arguments back from some of the other countries abroad where we've done commentary on this, that other countries, the young crowd is there. But even recent gigs, I've seen videos of taking a look at some of the recent gigs, and it is people in their late 50s, 60s at the shows. And it makes me go, so from a mental health point of view, would they have those issues? They have a slightly different concerns. Yeah, I would guess, stress and depression, but would they have the anxiety of what younger generation would go to? I feel a certain element in my 40s, but I don't feel any of the issues that a lot of them have been reported, sort of these bipolar disorders, etc. Which are not new, they've been around.
It used to be known as manic depression,
Manic
didn't it?
depression,
Bipolar. Yeah.
We know there is an issue around it. I wonder if COVID is one of the biggest things about it, with the fact that you were spent a year basically in your homes and trying to get back out, people to come out and socialise. It's not a case of going for me, it's not about the finances. I could go to a gig 4 or 5 nights a week if I really, really wanted to, financially. But there is an element of panic attack for me.
We have an example of this, and guess who I'm going to mention? Faith No More. So Mike.
It was a choice of 3, really, wasn't it?
So Mike Patton, just after the first COVID lockdown, Faith No More had a lucrative tour booked. They had to cancel it because he was diagnosed with agoraphobia. So they've lost a lot of money on that. But Mike Patton's health, and this only came about because of COVID, because of the isolation. He actually developed agoraphobia. He was diagnosed as that. He's given no interview. He's only given 1 interview about it. But that's very serious. That just shows you, doesn't it? And I keep repeating that statistic. 5.6 million people were receiving out-of-work benefits in 2016. A lot of that isn't mental health. That is physical disability. Okay? But there will be a large proportion. For that welfare bill to balloon to 11 million people claiming out of work benefits, there is a crisis. And a lot of that is mental health. And is it awareness? Is it people are aware of their vulnerabilities, but at the same time are a lot softer and don't have the resilience that our generation were brought up on? Certainly, the way I was raised by my dad, I could speak to him, but you've got to be a man about these things. And I am still like that to this day. I would never tell anyone if I was suffering. I would keep it bottled up.
We're taking the whole situation, trivialising it. We're going, why are you not going to gigs, man? Gigs, fuck's sake.
There's a mental health crisis and we're blaming people for not going to gigs.
You cheeky
Come and
bastards.
support your local sludge metal band. You're going to make your life even worse by singing miserable songs.
If you're agoraphobic, we'll come to your house. No, I
Crowd will be bigger.
There'll be more people in attendance then. I don't know. Yeah, we could really. I think we can agree that there is a mental health element that's causing a fact, but it's not just to gigs; it's to a lot of other things as well. So,
as you said,
and
I think that's low down on the priority of people with severe mental health. Why am I not supporting my local metal scene? Am I a failure?
The problem is would going to gigs help make life better? It doesn't change anything for going to a gig, so unless it's in a great environment. But as long as we've talked about inclusivity, so. People are more than welcome to come to any gig that you ever want to go to, and especially in the rock and metal scene, and we will make everyone feel inclusive.
Yes.
And if you don't, we'll come around there and kick the fucker's head in.
Oh no, we're actually...
Not the person with the mental health, the person that's made you not feel included. Sorry, I should point that out.
Yeah, if you're agoraphobic, you're not the target of our violence.
Whoever makes you feel crap, we're going to go after you. Right, thank you very much for watching today. We'll see you on the video sometime very soon. Take care.